Hello, guys! Do you know why political leaders in different countries of the world are afraid of the economic problems more than any other? More than political or social problems? Because the economic problems have one unique quality. They amass extremely quickly. One problem draws another problem, and so on and so forth, and it's literally impossible to stop the process. And that is exactly what we observe as the Russian economy had a perfect storm. Let me give you an illustration from the local Russian newspapers. 6 of regions inside the Russian Federation are on the brink of bankruptcy. 61 regions inside Russia do not have enough money for their ordinary operations. And of course, in such context, Russians stop bringing their money to the banks. Recently, I've told you about 1 trillion rubles withdrawn from the Russian banks during the previous 6 months, and now they stopped bringing any new. It's pretty obvious why. Because they understand that the Kremlin overestimated its possibilities. The war is destroying Russia from within, and the deposits can be frozen at any moment, especially after a new deposit tax was introduced. So let's discuss what is happening with the regional budgets inside Russia, which regions suffer the most, and how it influences the banking crisis in Russia. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and if you want to see the defeat and demilitarization of the Russian Federation that has already started, subscribe, comment these videos, and share them to spread the truth. And let's begin with these new problems of the Russian banking system. I've told you that from April to October, 6 months, Russians managed to withdraw 1 trillion rubles from their deposits. That is a very big sum, especially for Russia, traditionally poor country. The largest does not mean successful or rich. And this seriously influenced the stability of the already shaking Russian banks. But the observations of experts, of media demonstrate that not only Russians withdraw their deposits, they also stopped bringing any new. Which means Russian banks literally do not have money in their, cellars. Everything is taken out and burned on the front lines, not only in Ukraine, but now in Russia, because Putin and millions who supported him failed and overestimated themselves. So recently, the Kremlin also introduced deposit tax. You know that they increased VAT from 20 to 22, which is very serious for middle-sized business inside Russia. Then they also lowered the thresholds for the companies that have to pay VAT, and this literally destroys small businesses. A very different process to what is happening in Ukraine, in the European Union, when the state tries to encourage new businesses, small businesses. It's healthy for your country, for your economy, for your people. But in Russia, the situation is different, and Putin gets deeper and deeper into the pockets of the poor population that so much cheered for this war, and now is surprised to hear air raid alerts and to stand in queues to get some liters of gasoline. So they stopped bringing money to the banks, and this only fuels more problems inside the banking system. Inflation is growing, stagnation is visible even for the Russian propagandists. Subscribe to witness the economic, the military collapse of the Kremlin together. Trust me, the process has already started. And some more interesting facts coming from different Russian regions that only prove the serious problems that become visible even for inexperienced, unprofessional, people, like ordinary Russians who describe themselves as apolitical and now are not ready, to pay for their choice of being apolitical. You know, in the modern world, especially in such times, it's impossible to be apolitical. Let me know in the comments below, do you agree, and do you treat being political as something negative? That's interesting. So 6 Russian regions report serious problems and deficits of their budget, regional budgets, and you know that the Kremlin won't help them out. And they report that they lack something ranging from 24%, that's a lot, that's like a quarter, in Volgograd, for example, up to 35% in Irkutsk. Everything went wrong. Not just the blitzkrieg failed, but all the strategy failed. And by the way, regions are feeling it now. They feel this tremendous economic pressure, how Kremlin takes away all the money from them. And also they feel that anything bad can happen to the deposits. They can be frozen, they can be stolen, they can be nationalized. And the budgets, regional budgets, only prove that. Nobody's going to help them in this situation. So 61 regions in total report shortages and problems. And by the way, this also influences the payments for the Russian war recruits. The Kremlin attracted those people to become war criminals, to join the Russian army, only with money. Please forget about ideology. It's about money, and the majority of people conscripted to the Russian army came from very poor regions. If you want to know more, check a new video on my Anna Danilchuk channel where we actually discuss this tremendous gap between life in Moscow and life in far east of Russia, for example. And these people join the army for the sake of money or an ability to loot, I don't know, Ukrainian villages. But now these regional budgets cannot afford paying Russian war recruits, and perhaps not being peaceful or kind people, but they start asking questions. Why are we paying for this with money and with our people? 61 regions inside Russia report shortages, and 6 regions are on the brink of bankruptcy. In the context of many more economic problems, withdrawn deposits, gasoline crisis, inflation, stagnation, empty budget, and Putin says they need to spend more on defense. And you know, often I spoke about these lies in Russia that they name things contrary to what they are, and they name attacks as defense, but we observed tremendous change in the course of this war, and Russia indeed needs to spend a lot on defense because dozens of its regions are a war zone, a no-fly zone, explosions, air raid alerts, no gasoline because of burning oil refineries, and the largest gas processing plant destroyed in the Orenburg region that is still burning since yesterday. Thumbs up, and please share these videos to spread the truth, because some people keep overestimating Russia. And yes, I'm talking about the White House. But I know you know the truth, and I'm very grateful for your subscriptions, for your comments. Remember to push that notification button. Greetings from Kyiv, and today I was very happy to be present at the NEFO 46 convoy handover, and soon you will see more photos and reports on this channel. But I want to thank you for making it possible and for saving a lot of innocent Ukrainian lives. Know that all of your donations helped get more drones, more vehicles, and protect more people and more territories, and not just in Ukraine, because this is the war between good and evil, and I'm grateful that we are together against the Kremlin. Thank you so much for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel. Remember to follow me on X, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, Discord. Check the link for our merch shop. Lots of good items that work well as reminders and conversation starters about Ukraine. But most importantly, thank you for being friends of mine and friends of Ukraine. United we stand. Слава Україні!